Before we get to the episode, I need to make an apology because I tried to set up the cameras on my own and then I sat my big head in front of one of the cameras. So for the first 20 minutes of this episode, you cannot see one of my lovely sister-in-laws because my fuzzy head is blocking the view. So hopefully it's not too bad, not too distracting. We had an amazing conversation with these three sisters. And I hope that you can still get a whole lot of value. If you're only listening to the audio, it's perfect. Nothing, ignore this message. Nothing was wrong. But if you're trying to watch the video, I'm sorry. We make mistakes, and we're trying to do our best. So enjoy this episode of the Matsuo Boys podcast, where we help quote-unquote normal people tell their stories and help you find something to connect with. So hopefully you can connect with the fact that I made a mistake and we all make mistakes. So without further ado, let's get to the conversation. Okay, so we're going to go around. We'll go oldest to youngest.
Oh, damn. Okay.
But it's just a basic.
Don't
so
yeah.
Your name, your age, if you guys are okay disclosing that.
I don't, wait, how old am I?
Wait a minute.
I'm going to say I'm 28.
You are. Almost. You are for a few more days.
Yeah.
Oh, cute. You're almost 29.
Stop.
Yeah, just know you're not supposed to ask women that. But
No, we can tell you.
No, it's...
so
I don't
name, age. I mean, you're
Social
all from the
security
same
number.
place, but so Lauren can just say where you guys are from.
Yeah.
And then where you currently reside,
Mm.
and then your birth order
Mm.
in your family, and then your current stage, your current familial status.
Oh,
so
got it.
your mother's
Yeah.
sisters, whatever. Yeah, okay.
Like two, one
Sister
child.
wives.
Sister wives. One of two, two of one. Okay.
I'm just kidding.
The reason we're here
Okay.
today.
I can remind you. Go for it, Lauren.
Okay. I'm Lauren Totticini. I guess Lauren Shurtleff Totticini for the purposes of this conversation. We're from Provo, Utah. I am the oldest of the three Shurtleff girls. Currently I live in Vineyard. I have 2 kids, a husband, Gerard. Shout out to Jared Totticini. Gerard. There's a story about his name. Anyways, let's see. I work full time, right? So, and my husband works full time. So we are trying to do that co-parent thing as good as we can. Let's see. Yeah. Did I say I was the oldest? Yeah, I said that. Okay.
And I'm McKenna, and I am...
What's your last name, McKenna?
I'm McKenna Shurtleff Escobedo. I am the middle child
You can say second.
of 3. Is middle.
It's still second. Okay.
I
Continue.
am the second oldest and second youngest. That's true. So, I currently live in Logan, Utah, and I'm a stay-at-home mom to a daughter of 2 years old, almost 2.
Okay, I'm Mariah Shurtleff Matua.
Oh.
I know I can't believe I'm on a podcast with my husband. Cute.
So cute.
Goals.
Hashtag.
Hashtag goals. I am the third and the youngest Shurtleff girl. We're complicated. We're in Provo right now. And we have 2 kids, 2 daughters, and I am a full-time stay-at-home mom.
I call them Sums.
Sums.
That's what everyone calls them on social media.
I'm a
Okay,
sum.
we'd like to welcome the Shurtleff Sisters. They are a very special group of sisters to me, at least, in the Matsuo Boys. So I'd like to thank my brothers. Love you guys
Aw.
just as much.
We
But
like them.
Way better.
we welcome you. And so far we've had, obviously, our brothers and then 2 more sets of brothers. So you guys will be our first females on it. Well, actually, yeah, because we haven't had... The girls kind of came in with questions one time, but other than that, you guys will be the first faces on cameras that are
Wow.
females. So welcome. And
Well, you're lucky.
one of the reasons I really wanted to have you guys on, because obviously you
Mm.
guys are all sisters. we are all brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be the day and night, the black and white contrast to how we grew up. So we'll start, now we'll go youngest to oldest.
Oh, okay.
Wait.
Because what are the age gap between each of you?
Oh, yeah. I'm 33.
I'm 30.
I'm 28.
Yeah, so
Turning
5 years between Mariah and I, and so like 3-ish,
Okay.
2-ish.
So pretty close.
Yeah.
Pretty close. So Mariah, starting with Mariah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Who of the sisters was in charge in the home?
I mean,
the home?
In the home, growing up.
yeah, in the
That's a good
home,
question.
it was Lauren. I think.
Unless you
Follow
had-
up.
Unless I had to make. Unless it was like,
Look.
can you make me some oatmeal?
Yeah. I was like, okay, let's clarify what you mean by who was in charge.
So who was, I would say, with brothers, I don't know how it is for sisters, but who was the most feared? Like who ruled, who could rule? Was there anyone that ruled with an iron fist?
No, not
No.
really.
So there was no, but obviously who was the most dominant personality?
Ooh. Look.
Okay. I feel like I have to defend myself.
Okay, so the eyes went to McKenna. So McKenna, defend yourself.
Okay, I would say I was probably the most volatile, like, personality.
I don't know that I would say volatile. I would just say like you didn't take shit.
Yeah.
Like, and you were also
wouldn't-
vocal about like what you didn't like
Okay, that's fair. But I also feel like
and what you wanted.
I don't think
Yeah.
you two were ever afraid of me. I feel
No.
like it was other people outside of our sister, like the sisters, that were afraid of me. That
Yes.
like your friends were afraid of me. Your friends didn't.
I didn't have friends.
Really?
Let's be clear.
Your friends didn't really know me. You never brought. You
I didn't bring,
bring
but like
a lot of friends.
we
over to
talked
the
about this
house.
before, but like I was like totally chill doing my own thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like
that I do
Uh-huh.
remember.
but I would like okay. So wait, what was the original question that you asked?
Who ran the home? Who
Okay,
was in
so
charge
can I
of the
answer this
siblings?
question?
Yeah.
I know that neither of them. I'm going to take charge now.
Go
okay?
for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So
there-
there's
I was
your
gonna say, my next
answer.
question was going to be, how has that changed?
It hasn't.
If it has
Okay,
at all.
here we go. So when I went into 7th grade, I think my mom was it when I was in 7th grade? No, when you went into first
First
grade.
grade.
So when I was in 6th grade, my mom went back to work
full time.
and she'd also at the same time or very shortly after she went back to work, she started a like a post-bac program kind of, but it was more involved than just like post-bac classes. Like it was actually to
Can
get
you, I don't know
herself
what post-bac is. Can you?
post-baccalaureate. So like post-bachelor's
Okay.
degree classes, but it was an actual program to get her a teaching license. But it was like a new program that I think Provo District and BYU had worked out together.
Okay.
Anyways, so when my mom went back to school, there were evenings where we would come home from school and would be like
We were
mom's at school and we were alone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was when we were like, awesome. We're gonna watch Home Improvement, and then we're gonna watch Friends, and then Mom is gonna be home, and we weren't supposed to watch Friends.
Yeah.
Right?
I literally had
so
like
guilty
and so, like,
panic attacks about watching Friends.
Yeah,
Because I was
know.
like,
Mariah was. If anyone was gonna rat us out, it was gonna be Mariah.
I was the weak link
I was in first grade.
It's true. But McKenna and I, but it was mostly like we watch Home Improvement, and then Friends was on like right after on K-Jazz channel 14. You remember those days?
Classic.
Yeah. And we would watch it in the tiny TV in
Yeah.
mom and dad's room.
We had time to turn it off before or change the channel
Yeah.
before.
Anyways, so like when my mom went back to school, I feel like that's when I maybe started to become in charge because that's when my mom was like, hey, there's things that need to happen while I'm not here. But before that, like I don't feel like there was really any.
I think we
Yeah.
all had our moments, really. Like it
Yeah.
was pretty.
Yeah, but once we hit that point, then it was like my mom was like, okay, you got to make sure that you make the hamburger helper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Shout out
that-
Hamburger Helper.
That is a memory that
Raised
Right?
on it.
I remember
we had those
we were
things lined up.
raised on like really good home cooked meals, and there was like the dark ages of when it was like
Sodium.
boxed. Yeah, sodium. like
Just straight salt.
salt and ground beef.
Yeah.
is what I do remember that. And then I remember us getting really bored with that and frustrated with that. And that was when mom started helping us plan meals and go through
I have like no
recipes.
recollection of that.
I remember
Actually,
that.
that's true.
Okay.
Mom, I feel like at a certain point, mom started to explore cooking more, and maybe that's right. I don't
Well,
know.
and I feel like mom's always liked finding new recipes. I feel, but it wasn't until a certain point after we had, like I said, gone through, the hamburger helper era, where
it was a lot of
we
hamburger
started cooking
spaghetti.
more.
Yeah,
Quesadillas.
lots of quesadillas.
Learning how to cook.
Yeah,
But I feel like that was more my interest, and so
McKenna
I
made a
remember-
mean egg, guys.
I still make good scrambled eggies, man.
Yeah, but so like back to the original question.
Yeah.
I think the default answer is like
The
derp,
oldest.
like the oldest,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
and I think it's really just because like your parents are like,
You're
you should know better. And you're
Yeah.
like, about
Yeah.
what? Right?
Could you fill me in on
clarify what you're talking about here? So, but it really wasn't until that point, I don't think, that I felt like some responsibility to like be in charge. Well, in charge. Like maybe like when McKenna started going to school, there was I know you probably had similar things like when your brother started
Yeah.
to like tag along on the way to school, on the walk to school or whatever. It was like, okay,
yeah.
don't run in the road. Like what? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like just some of those things. So
Yeah.
So, and then your mom was in school basically because your mom was still in school when
Yeah.
we started dating.
So
So
she,
Well,
she got went back to get her master's.
Yeah.
mm-hmm. She finished her post back. So when I went into I don't know the timelines on this very well. I feel like by the time I went into high school, mom had finished her teaching license certification and was teaching full time special
ESL.
ed. Well, it was ESL first, and then it was special ed.
She was still doing ESL until I was out of elementary school.
Okay, see, our timelines are I don't know. Sorry, mom.
timelines never line up.
Timelines never line up.
I
What was
think,
I
I'm
saying?
gonna be
anyway.
honest, I am the sister with the worst memory, so I'm just gonna nod and say it. I have no recollection of this time.
What was I? Oh, but yes. So she did finish school, but she went back and got her master's when you guys were.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So like
She'd
when I had a
been-
Yanni, she was
Yeah.
in her master's program, I think, or just after that,
Um,
close to. Nobody
Yeah.
knows.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and then so I'll lead into our next one. And I was just kind of curious about this because as brothers, and especially as brothers in a household that played a lot of sports, you kind of did what your older brother did.
Yeah.
But I look at you three, and you three are all so completely different and
Uh-huh.
did completely different things. Well, not completely different. 'Cause
Yeah.
I mean, if I had to describe you guys, it would be writer. Well, y'all artists, but writing, art as in like the physical art, and then dancing. So
Yeah.
you're all y'all
like,
have.
what is he gonna say?
So I guess your guys' sports would have been
Yeah.
art,
Yeah.
but it's such so how. So we'll start with Lauren. What do you think happened different in your life to put you on that path to have a passion for writing? And then the same thing for art, for dance.
You know. Okay, so where do I start this? Honestly, I feel like my love for words started very young because my mom obsessively and meticulously read to me. I think she tried with you guys.
I mean,
I remember Mom reading to me.
to us a lot.
A lot.
Like reading books together, chapter books together on road trips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always encouraging us to read, always, providing money for book fairs. Like she did that for all of us, but it's like, he said we all kind of attached to different things.
To different parts of that,
and
yeah.
different parts of that, like.
But yeah, I
tradition.
feel like it started because like I remember my mom I don't want to say bragging, but feeling accomplished at some point, telling someone that she had started reading to us very like from the time we were very small, like every night we were reading, and we had bookshelves of like picture books, which are now
Mm-hmm.
sitting in a storage unit. I have words about that. We can talk about that later. Anyway, but then shortly, like before I went into kindergarten, my mom started me on the Hooked on Phonics program,
Mm-hmm.
which I think she had
She
both
did
of
that
you
with
do.
all of us.
Yeah.
I think that, again, because I was the oldest, because things were like new with me, right? She had me go through more of it. Like I went through more of the books in the Hooked on Phonics series, maybe.
Mm.
And I got to put the stickers in. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we had to
Yeah, put the stickers in the books.
I feel no new sticker for me.
So like that, and then I just started to tell stories, and my mom would be like, tell me a story, and I'd be like, well, let me tell you a story. I would just make stuff up, and she'd be like, did you make that up? I'm like, yeah. And so like even those small moments of like validation, I'm like, sick, I'm gonna do stories, right? And then when I went into high school and I started to have to write like essays and stuff for school, I was a perfectionist. Am still in many ways. And I would write my papers and then I'd give them to my mom because I wanted her to look at them. And then my mom would like edit them, right? And then she would sit down with me and she'd be like, sit here. I'm going to tell you why I changed all these things. And I was like, okay. And to this day, like literally a day ago, I told somebody about this, about how this is how my mom taught me to write. And this is how I learned, I don't know, how to improve my writing or just the idea that you can improve your writing, right?
Yeah.
And also my freshman year of high school had a high school English teacher. Shout out to Lynn Williams. I don't even know what he's doing. I know he retired like maybe 2 years after my freshman year of high school. But I was like, I love this. Tell me, I want all of this. But before that, we read a ton. Like we would come home from school and we would read. My mom would take us to the library every 2 weeks, like religiously.
I love library
Like
days.
we would so for me that like my mom made me a writer. And maybe not intentionally, right? Like I know she didn't intentionally make me a writer, but I was like, oh, I love this, right?
She intentionally gave you a passion for learning and understanding.
Yeah.
And for reading and language. And I think that comes from her dad and her mom, frankly. Like my abwe and my grandpa. Like my grandpa is always reading.
Yes.
Right? He'd come over and he would have his notebooks and like his a briefcase that you could fit Mona in, right? Like literally.
Yeah.
And he was always reading. So like, yeah.
But literally every book specifically about the church that I've had in the vicinity of your grandpa, he's read it. He's like, hey, that book, you watch out for this. I'm like,
Yeah.
most of them are pretty old, but I'm like, oh, that's crazy.
He has like 2 doctorate degrees.
Two?
2?
No, one.
1.
I don't know. He has one.
He's a very
he loves
learned
language.
man.
Very
he
learned.
loves language. He loves
Mm-hmm.
reading and learning as well. And so that's
So
that's like what you latched onto. And to be fair,
Mhm.
we're all decent.
yeah.
We were all decent at writing in school.
I did give Mariah an A- once.
I've heard about this.
I was
I'm still bitter about it.
Okay, we'll hold it. We'll come back around on that question.
But like to be fair, because I remember Mariah won an award for a short story or something when you were
Yeah.
in was
Yeah.
that in high school or
No.
Reflections.
or
Yes.
middle? Oh,
It's reflection.
Yes.
Ooh.
Sixth
We
grade.
have that
Sixth
in
grade.
common. We
Oh.
both won reflections competition.
I never did it. I attribute that to being the oldest though, because I was like, I don't know what this
I
thing
don't know what
is.
this is.
Yeah.
Like,
There's a lot of those things when you're the oldest. You have to do a lot of dumb things that you probably shouldn't have had to do, and then you also miss out on a lot of things your siblings get to pick up.
Yeah.
But we're going to take a break to tell you a little bit about our partnership with Mana Tactical Outfitters. Mana Tactical is our first partnership, and for us as brothers, it couldn't be more perfect. On the surface, Mana Tactical is a brand that seeks to blend Polynesian heritage with the tactical utility of a modern warrior. But at its core, Mana Tactical is a movement that seeks to unite the Polynesian warrior spirit with safe, responsible, and proficient gun ownership. This is perfect for us because, 1, we are Samoan, and 2, we believe that the Second Amendment is a God-given right, and that right comes with the responsibility to safely protect and defend not only those in your home, but all those around you. Overall, Mana Tactical just represents a lot of the values that we hold dear to us. So head on over to manatacticaloutfitters.com/MatuaBoysMTO or use MatuaBoysMTO for a 10% off your entire purchase. head over there. They have some good gear. They have some hats, some hoodies, and every day they're announcing new stuff. So go ahead and follow them on Instagram as well at Mono Tactical Outfitters. And stay tuned. Okay, so I'll just go through the question again. So so Lauren's was writing. So where did your path chip off?
I don't really know where I started having the desire to like record, but in a different way, like with images rather than with words. I do remember very specifically. My mom was just really good at noticing things that we would take an interest in. And I think that is especially true for me because when I remember being really small, like 8 or 9 years old, and I would set up my Beanie Babies and imagine like if they were I remember so specifically,
little dioramas. Little Beanie Baby dioramas.
Drawing my Beanie Babies and they're like on their own adventures and on lined paper.
Yeah.
And my mom noticed that, and I remember I think I turned like 9, maybe 9 or 10, and she came to me and said, "Hey, would you be interested in trying to go to an artist who can teach you how to draw?" And I remember being like, hell yes, that sounds awesome. And so her name was Brittany Allen.
I remember
and
this.
She was so fun, and she was just awesome.
Off the PG exit.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, before that, she was over by UVU.
Yeah. And
or what used to be UVSC. Anyways.
I have a memory of her, like that was her, because it was like a really pristine house, and I remember like drawing really carefully because I'm like, this is a very white couch. I don't not like white as in like white people, but like white as in like it was
color
bright
of it.
white. And I remember being like, I have charcoal in my hand.
Dang.
I was like, I don't know if I should be doing this. But then I think that was like her in-laws or her parents' house, like they were staying there. But then they moved to this other house. And it was like, I remember it being like brown and like tall, and it was in her basement, and the floor was disgusting because she was primarily, she did pastel drawing. And so pastel dust just covered the floor. And I remember being like, this is awesome. Like, I love this.
I would have
so
had the ick.
much.
I would have been like, I don't think I can stand it.
But my mom, like, it was funny because I don't remember ever going to my mom and being like, hey, I want to learn how to draw. I remember my mom coming to me and saying, hey, I noticed that you are drawing a lot. Would you want to
learn more?
And of course, I absolutely did. And so for several years. It was a long time, like up until I was in middle or high school that Brittany moved. And I was in school, and I could take art classes, and so we didn't really feel the need to, try and supplement that. But I think it was just different personalities. You latch on to different things and different ways of telling stories, right? Lauren wanted to be the speaker, like the orator, wanting to tell stories verbally, and I just have never been as eloquent with language in a lot of ways.
I don't really believe that. She believes it. I don't believe that.
Well, I mean, but this is like your own perception of yourself, right? Like I view myself in a much different way than my sisters view myself, or even, people outside of our family. Yeah. But I latched onto a more visual way of like telling stories, but in a really strange way. All of our talents are about storytelling, and
well,
it's very linked to reading and to speaking, and I would say specifically just naturally showing an interest in something slightly different, and my mom saying, "Oh, I can encourage this." And I think like props to mom because like it takes a very perceptive person not to just be like, 9-year-olds draw.
Yeah.
I did it.
Really, really terrible pictures.
Well, that's what's interesting because my parents had their approach was more like throw shit at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
Because literally, me and all my brother, it was like, okay, in the spring you're gonna play soccer, in the winter you're gonna play basketball, you're gonna play football in the fall, then you're gonna do track, and it's just like do everything and we'll see which ones you guys flow with. So
well, I will say that we all three of us also loved swimming, and so we were all in,
and we did dance,
and we did
but
dance.
I want to hear from the dancer.
Yep. Now let's go to the dancer.
Speak into your mic.
Yes, sorry. Well, yeah, like was said just barely. All three of us were in dance for the majority of our lives. I think I started the youngest.
Yes.
You did.
You did.
I was actually started when I was 2 with the BYU Young Dance Makers, which sadly is not a program anymore, but still kind of is.
Yeah.
But so I started really young, and I remember loving it. In second grade, Lauren and I were in Light of the World, which was
McKenna, why weren't you?
That is a whole story.
Like, maybe not here. Just kidding.
Okay, wait, keep going
Keep
because that
going,
is a
keep
hysterical
going.
story.
But yeah, so we were in Light of the World, which was a huge show.
Huge
production for the 2002 Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City. And for pretty much that whole school year, we were bussed up to Salt Lake to the conference center to rehearse and perform.
And on weekends.
And I remember loving that. Like loving.
I loved it too.
Like just all of it. I mean, like I didn't even feel like I was in school.
I look
I
back
am now a professional performer.
Literally. Like, it was awesome. It was fun and whatnot. So I think that probably played a huge part in, kind of the start of my love. And then also my mom was a dancer. And that's how she and our dad met, was through the Lamanite generation, which is now Living Legends at BYU. And so we just grew up going to performances and shows literally my whole life. And I just remember loving that. And I always loved dancing. But I got to a point in middle school mostly where, well, especially for girls, middle school is
hell.
6th grade to 9th grade pretty much is, yeah, literally hell. Like I would never, you couldn't pay me enough money to go back.
No.
And do that over again. And so so during that time I became really self-conscious of myself and my body. And I mean, to cut it short, I hated myself, and that really affected the way that I perceived and felt about dance. And I really struggled. Like I struggled to stay in it. I struggled because I was constantly comparing myself to the other girls in my dance class, which were literally all like sticks. And I just was so uncomfortable there. Like I wasn't happy at dance class, and I felt like not.
When did that change? Did
beautiful.
it change?
Yeah, it did. I remember my teacher, specifically Miss Kathleen. She's
you guys.
Like
I tell
an
it like
angel,
sorry,
like,
I don't mean to cut in, but
No, you're fine.
literally this woman also saved my life.
Yeah.
Like
I think
she's magic.
I think she, in a way, like saved all of us. In a huge part. I do have a story about Miss Kathleen, but I want you to finish.
But she was very perceptive of that, like swing of change for me, because literally she'd been my teacher like every year since I was 2. And so she noticed it like instantly. And I honestly like hated her because I hated that she knew. I hated that she knew that I hated myself so much. When I felt like I was hiding it so well from everybody else, which looking back, I probably wasn't.
You're a 12-year-old girl.
But, you know, I'm such a good liar. And yeah, I know, I realized I'm not a good liar. Everything shows on my face. And so she, I don't know, she was always encouraging to me, but that also like made me angry again because I was like, leave me alone. Like, don't tell me that I'm different. Don't tell me that something's wrong, right? Like, I didn't want someone to like actually speak those words to me. But I remember there was a point I got like super low in 8th grade. And my mom was helping me get my makeup ready for our dance performance, our show at the end of the school year in May. And she was helping me do my makeup, and I just like literally like anger like welled up inside of me, and it just like exploded. And I remember yelling at my mom, and I was like stop trying. Like, stop trying to make me pretty, because I'm not.
How old was I at this point? Like, I feel like I remember this moment. Continue.
Yeah. And I ran out of the bathroom into my room, and I was sitting in front of my mirror just, like, bawling. And my mom, thankfully, she knew to just let me be for a little bit. But I remember sitting there just crying. And I was sobbing and praying. Just asking, like, why? Like, why did I feel this way? Like, why did I have to experience this? And just, like, asking, literally, I remember asking Heavenly Father, I was like, I just want someone to hold me.
Aww.
And in that moment, I literally felt my Savior hold me. And that changed everything. Like, it was so simple, but that's literally when where my testimony came from, was from that moment, sitting in front of that mirror and just feeling this, like, otherworldly embrace. And I've never felt that since. It was like a one-time thing. And from that moment, everything, you know, just got better. And, I mean, I still struggled. I still constantly, like, compared myself to other people, but I knew that somebody else knew my Savior, and that he wasn't judging me or trying to make me, I want to say he wasn't trying to make me better, but he wasn't, like, forcefully healing me, you know? It was just like it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, I've got you. And that, you know, changed, like I said, everything, my whole perspective of...
I'm an empathetic cry.
Sorry, sis. It's a good thing I didn't wear makeup. Just kidding, I never wear makeup.
The one day I did.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I wasn't
same.
expecting to...
No, can I ask a follow-up question to the dance thing, though?
Yeah.
Because I remember, and here's the thing is that I also went through a similar thing, right? Like, I hit puberty really early. Not that any of you needed to know that.
Hey, I'm like,
But I
it hits different
remember
for
being
girls.
like, whoa, and becoming really self-conscious about the fact that my body was very different, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like at a certain, because like you then took dance like way further than McKenna and I ever did. Like I was in dance for the social aspect of it.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I was not a person that was like, hey, let's hang out. I was just like, I have friends in places. And
We're
we
going
leave
to
them
be in
there.
the same place at the same time.
Yeah.
It's just, it really, like, the dance program
Go a little bit
was
closer.
a lovely program. Oh, sorry. It was a lovely program. I remember really enjoying it. But I also remember like feeling very strongly that I was like, I do not excel here, you know? You know, and like, like I'm just kind of here, you know, because
Which is
just like to kind of piggyback off of that, I always knew and felt like I always felt like a giant in these classes. I was like, I know I weigh at least 50 pounds more than most of these girls.
Okay, see,
here.
that is not correct at all.
But so I always felt really big, and I always knew, I was like, if there's gonna be any sort of like acrobatics, I'm gonna be the person on the bottom.
I'm the base.
Yes. And like I was okay with that, and I mean, but I also remember feeling really self-conscious too, because I was
I think we all did.
Yeah.
When did you decide to do Living Legends? Because like up until like, because the thing that's cool about that for me is that like up until that point you had danced modern, creative, contemporary dance, right? Now, like our mom grew up doing Mexican dancing. Our abue taught Mexican, baile folklorico for decades, right? And so at what point did you, like, what made you want to do that?
I just, like, I remember, like, in the summers going down to Holbrook and, our cousins, our Ampuero cousins and Tia Carrie and Abue would go into the studio and they would just, like, whip it out. And, like, it's so freaking cool.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted it so badly from very young.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, and I remember asking mom, probably not until I was like in middle school or high school. I'm like, why didn't you teach us?
Yeah.
Like, I remember asking her that all the time. Like, why did you not? Because I want this so badly. But I was like, the
redhead, ladies and gentlemen.
what? Like, what am I going to do? Like, there's nothing I can do. But
They were,
because, I danced throughout high school, like danced in high school, and then I was like Sterling Scholar for my high school.
Oh yeah, 2 Sterling Scholars here, folks.
Oh,
it's not a thing.
I did not. Like
I was
said,
like, I don't
I
think
did not
anybody
excel
knows
in
what
high
Sterling
school
Scholar
in
is.
any way.
Whatever. We can talk about that
know,
later.
I didn't though.
That's not true.
I was so average. It was like painful average.
I bet average though.
Look, yes,
Like,
Average in the
correct.
shirtless household is
below
probably going to be
yes.
at the top of the class still. So
Here's the thing. McKenna showed up from high school one day and was like, hey, I'm on the softball team.
Oh yeah.
I remember my mom being like, what?
I was like,
She was a sophomore.
She was a sophomore. She was like,
sophomore,
hey,
I made
yeah,
the
I'm on
shit.
the softball team.
She was like, you never even took T-ball. And I was like, yeah, it's not that hard.
So you see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
But, okay, side note. Because McKenna was so amazing, she was on the varsity softball team her sophomore year. First time ever playing softball.
yes.
Yeah.
And then people turned to me like, Mariah, are you going to play softball? And I was like, no. I was like, that gene does not run in me.
Okay, but I will say this, and I didn't make the varsity team. I played on the varsity team when their third
Same.
baseman was injured, but I
Yeah,
was
because
on the JV
because
team.
technically you were a sophomore and you
it's only-
couldn't be on the varsity.
Right,
team.
right.
Yeah.
It only
But-
takes one inning to let her. So
Yeah. Yeah. But I only played it for 1 year because I didn't like my coach. I was
Hey.
like,
Yeah.
I thought it was supposed to be fun. I didn't understand like competitive sports. You know, I was all like, aren't we just
I don't
supposed
think
to,
anyone in this
No,
household understands
it's so true,
competitive
because
sports.
everything we always
We
did
did
was
dance and we
Yeah.
rowed and we swam.
Yep.
it was like
It was all
like
individual
purely
competition.
for fun though. Like it was purely for
Like,
fun.
there's no point in the pool where you're
So-
reaching over and slapping the
Yeah.
person in the lane
Right.
next to you.
So when my coach at the end of the season was like, okay, I need you to do this, this, and that. And every day during the summer, we have the softball camp so that you can make varsity. I was like, what in the actual is this? I was like,
No, thank you.
how much is that going to cost? I was like, when am I going to go to Holbrook? I was like, doing,
That's the
doing
real
the
question.
calculations in my head. And I was like, this is not fun anymore. Like, I was doing this for fun to be with my friends. And then, of course, because my friends all thought I was going to be on the sophomore team and not the JV team, I kicked several girls out of their spots, out of first and second string, because I became first string JV third baseman.
Stir the pot.
And and then I didn't then all my friends they didn't want to be my friends anymore. They were mad at me because I made the varsity team, the JV team, and they didn't think I would. And
the whole reason they brought you there.
Yeah,
and then you're gonna leave.
And honestly, it was just for me to fill a seat. And they're like, yeah, you could come and be be on the in the dugout with us, and it'll be really
Dang,
fun.
they didn't even test you first. Like, here,
bro.
Kenna, throw this ball. Let's see.
Hey,
let's go.
This is the
Well,
thing.
okay, and I have a very very
Yeah.
specific memory of being in those tryouts, being really, really nervous. And before the tryouts, the coaches had during lunch, you could go and just hit some balls, catch, throw, just kind of hone your skills before actual tryouts. But I have a very specific memory of the coach and the assistant coach being like, hey, hi, what's your name? McKenna, blah, blah, blah. What position you play? And I was like,
there's positions in softball.
yeah.
I play softball.
I was like,
I just play softball.
my position is wherever the hell you put me, And so I was like,
said, ¿Dónde?
no entiendo. No sé. Pelota. No, but I remember, and they were like, oh, okay, well, yeah, just go stand over there. And so I was like, yes, sir, because we grew up very obedient. Yeah. So I go and I stand behind the third baseman, and I was like, I don't know. I was looking around at all the girls. I was like, what are we doing? I was like, did I need to audition? Did I need to prepare something?
I have a number ready to go.
Yeah. I was like,
Okay, can I
my
just
stretches,
That's one way that you can tell if you grew up in a sports family or in a not sports family.
Tryouts
are are the rugby auditions today? And he's like, don't even talk to me. Don't talk to me.
But I have a very specific
Rugby
memory
tryouts.
of being on the third base and the coach hitting a grounder at me, being on third base, and I was like, just pick it up. And he was like, okay, throw it to first, and I zing it. And I remember my coach being like,
Oh, wait, do that again. Do that again.
One more time.
yeah. And then they kept having me do it, and I was like, I don't understand what this is. And they were like, yeah, so and then they put the list up, and I'm looking for my name on the sophomore, under the sophomore roster, and I was like, oh dang, they didn't choose me. And I turn away from the door, and my friend was like, hey, McKenna, congrats. I was like, for what? I didn't make the team. And she was like, what are you talking about? I was like, I'm not on the sophomore, my name's not there. And she was like, did you look at the JV team or the varsity team rosters? And I was like, oh, no. And there I am, third baseman.
I was like, third
baseman.
The best part of this is that literally McKenna comes home. She's like, yeah, I'm on the softball team. And we're all like,
what?
Do you play softball? Right? But then my mom and my dad were like, oh, okay, I guess we need to get you equipment. McKenna's like, no, I already have some. Sister Griner gave me hers. So.
She's
just taking
shout out
care
to
of
the
it.
Griners. I think I still have it, actually.
Anyways, I want to hear more of your questions, but
I like just going because you're answering a lot of questions. But no, I think it's super interesting because. Yeah, you three are just so different, and I think our brothers are very much. We're all kind of the same in a lot of ways. We're very different, obviously. But
I did have a thought that I want to touch on. So, I feel like in a lot of ways we each kind of gravitated toward a part of mom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because she is very good at writing. She grew up with it. She loves finding meaning in words but she's also extremely crafty, very crafty. She did a lot of paper crafts and sewing and she did a lot of physical things that I would consider to be like
art.
Mhm.
right? And that's what I like latched onto. And she was a beautiful, beautiful dancer, and she encouraged that in us, and that's like what you latched onto. So I feel like in a lot of ways we just kind of fractured out and like made more
Expounded on her
and like
talents.
expounded on like what she did. It's almost like we like you know, I don't know how to describe it, but it like we're like fractals of like what of what my mom
hit the
is.
table.
Sorry, dang.
And then your
I
dad
think
just
that's
made
cool.
you guys all obedient.
and like really
Yes.
hardworking.
I-
I think
Hardworking
here's the thing.
And prepared, we talked about at the house.
Yeah.
yes. I mean,
Unless you're going on a hike.
I think
Look, we can't.
Let's not
Okay,
even go
first of
there.
all,
Okay,
that
I just want
wasn't-
you to know that my dad has never been on a single one of those
It is
disasters.
true.
I know, because if John
Because
Shurtleff
if
was
John
there,
Shurtleff was there, first of all, they wouldn't have happened.
would never have happened.
Nothing.
Like, it would have been.
I will say this.
Anyways,
All of those hikes where anyone has ever gotten lost or have been unprepared have been Lewis
Lewis
planned
family.
hikes.
yes, the Shurtleffs don't hike.
No.
I was gonna say,
I've
is what we
never
do
been on a
as
hike with
shirtless.
shirtless. This is what we do. We sit and chat.
I've been
I would
on a
also
hike
say
with
that what
Dad.
we learned from our dad though is loyalty and how to take care of people.
Yep.
Not that my mom wasn't good at that, but my dad and my dad got this from his mom, right? From our grandmother, but how to take care of other people, right? And how to assess other people's needs and how to be interested in standing in to be helpful.
Okay, so to finish, and I did this with my dad and his brother, and I know we already got some tears. This is my.
You
I'm
can
hoping
cut
to
that off.
invoke. I'm hoping to invoke some emotion
Some emotion.
With-
Oh, okay.
with
That's
this
not hard.
this last little segment here. So we'll start, and we'll pause and wait, and whoever wants to start can start. But we have you three here. Your sisters. I know McKenna's and Logan. We spent a stint on the East Coast. So you just spent time apart. You spent time together. You spent your whole early lives growing together. So now I just want to give you guys the opportunity to address your sisters at the table and just tell them what you want to tell them.
Interesting.
You know, so you can take your time and think. But yeah, just since it's been a while, maybe since you've had a heart to heart, because I don't know. Every time I picture sisters, let me tell you from
All right,
House of
let's
All
hear
Boys.
it. Let's hear it.
When I picture sisters, I picture after school, when something happened in your life, you're at home after school sitting on one of your beds and you're talking, having a heart to heart. Now, that doesn't happen in an all boys home. I don't know if it happened in your home.
I don't know if that happened when we were growing up. Did it? I don't remember talking to you guys about the nitty gritty.
But so that's just having that, just being able to say, whether it's something you've been wanting to say to them for a while and haven't had the chance to, or something that you appreciate, feelings of gratitude or remorse or even jealousy if you want to take it that way. But I think you guys should keep it loving. Just that's my opinion.
I'm just kidding.
So whenever you're ready.
Well, I can start off with just like kind of a general thought.
Or it can even be
And
something for
that
the future, something that you hope to accomplish as sisters.
Well, I think I don't think we realize how unique of a relationship that we have as siblings often. I think we kind of take how close we are for granted. So I have a friend who comes from, she has a big family. You all know her. You've met her multiple times, but she was visiting us in Logan, and she was talking about why was she it was right after Shella's birthday party.
First
Yeah.
birthday.
Yeah. And it was a huge ordeal. I don't know if you guys remember this.
Harry
but
Potter.
It was a huge ordeal. But she was just hanging out after you guys had left, and she said something that like really struck me that has been on my mind since that day.
Oh yeah.
And she said, what you have with your sisters, I wish I had with my sisters. And I have never seen sisters who are as supportive of each other in everything than the three of you are. And I was like, isn't that how it's supposed to be? And I was like, is this not normal? And since that day, like I've been like, I've like noticed my friends talking about like their siblings, and I'm like,
Huh.
I was like, how are you not? How do you what? Like, how do you not?
Yeah.
How are you not close to your siblings? And I think that again, one of the things that growing up in our family with our own, you know, we have our own trials and we have our own, you know,
challenges
that, you know, that we saw our parents struggling with, you know,
Yeah.
and like their, you know, their self-esteem and you know, all the things that they struggled with as parents, and, you know, like, you know, we're feeling those same struggles as, you know, parents to children. But I knew that no matter whatever they were going through, that they loved me.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I knew that whatever you guys did, I loved you, and I would do anything for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's a sentiment that we've always shared, because we like literally we will do everything to support each other. And I know that this is a struggle that we all have with each other, because we all have self-esteem issues, right?
Yeah. Apparently, Lauren has never,
Lauren,
which blows my mind.
Like, I don't understand.
No. Continue.
But like, we all have our thing. Like, especially me. Like, I struggled with depression my whole life, with depression and like a lot of like reckless types of self-harm. I've talked to my therapist about this, don't worry. But like I never cut, but like 90% of the bruises that people saw on my body were actually self-inflicted. Like
I did
because
not know this.
I knew that it would just devastate my family if they saw me cutting. And so I never did, because I was like, I mean, in a lot of ways, your love like kept me alive in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like from going into things that were darker and worse, because I knew sorry. In high school, I contemplated suicide a lot. Like, I thought about it constantly, because I would be like walking on Grandview Hill and being like, if I just like, it's dark, if I just stepped in front of a car, I wouldn't be killing myself, they would be killing me, but it would be so easy to do, you know, and like those kinds of thoughts. But I knew that
You knew I would have been pissed at you.
yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I knew I would think about it. I'd be like, my parents would be devastated, my sisters would be devastated if that happened to me, and especially devastated if they found out that I did it on purpose, you know.
Yeah.
And so in a lot of ways, that you guys kept me alive, man. And so
Your fear of me being mad at you.
Yeah,
From the
like being like, oh man, Lauren would hate me.
I wouldn't hate you, but I would be mad at
Yeah,
you.
like she would be so mad at me. And so just like that fierce way that we love each other and we let each other know is like so uncommon among siblings, I feel. But like,
maybe not.
I mean I don't know, but man, just, I mean, and I look up to you, and I see your individual struggles, and I know you get really frustrated with me and my self-esteem, because you're like, stop it, you know, you just want to shake me. But just how cool you guys are, like you're so amazing and so talented and loving, and I like just the relationship that we've been able to have together is something that other people are jealous of. And I think that is really, I think it's like powerful. Yeah.
I do have to say, I want a call from Kenna every day, because I know that every other person in my house gets a call from Kenna every day. No, I think that's something that's awesome. That's really
McKenna
good.
Doesn't call me all the time, because half the time I'm at work and I'm like, I can't talk right now.
No, I know. Me working from home and seeing Mariah, it's like
Man, that's awesome that your sister calls you every single day.
I know, and I'm so bad at it.
Well, no, that's the thing. It's like it only takes one sibling,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
keeps the whole family connected. So
Keep doing that.
she's the connector. So that's
Yeah.
awesome.
I'm the middle child. I'm the knot in
Yeah.
the middle, holding things together.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why they needed you, and you knew that.
That's why that's why I was the base all the time.
Thanks, Kenna. All right, who's next?
Love you.
I mean, you pretty much said what I want you to know.
Yeah. Same.
Like, it is the most, like, maddening thing to my soul
Uh-huh.
when McKenna's like, and I don't have any friends. And I want to be like,
Okay. This is a different
no,
issue, though.
no.
Yeah,
This is Lauren's
This
turn
is
to
Lauren's
talk.
time.
Time
Lauren's
to
on the
talk.
clock.
It is maddening to me. Here's the thing. Like, McKenna's like, yeah, I didn't have any friends in high school. And I was like, I'm
Well, I can back you up on this because everyone that I met at BYU that went to Provo High during that period, when I said Shurtleff, I was dating a Shurtleff, everyone said, oh, McKenna? I'm like, oh, no, her younger sister, Mariah.
Thank you for
Literally
just proving my point.
Everyone from
Not
the
a
Icas
single
to...
one of them was like Lauren, because I was like, no.
Okay, but in high school, I was known as Mariah's sister. Okay, so Mariah was never known as McKenna's sister.
McKenna
I was
thinks
never.
this, it's not correct.
No,
Stop. I'm talking now.
Lauren's
I'm talking
little
now.
sister
I'm
or
talking now.
Mariah's big sister.
I'm talking now.
Just saying.
I'm talking now. Okay.
Back
I
to
want you to
Lauren.
listen. I want you to listen. And I'm pretty sure Mariah's going to back me up on this one. Okay? Here's the thing that if I could, like, drill this into your brain, if I could, like, jab it into your skull and inject it, it would be that you have value. Okay. And that is, it depends on
everything.
nothing.
Yeah.
It is not dependent on anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that you are important. Period. The end.
I didn't mean to make this about me.
You're not
No,
making.
it's
This
not.
is about.
This is a
us.
message for everyone. This is why we're
This
doing
is a
this
message
on
for
mic,
everyone.
and this is why it's going to
Like,
go to the
this is-
world.
This
Oh
is
my
what I
gosh.
like. This is what I wish that I could successfully, like, open your eyes to. Is that you have you have value. You have worth. You have something to offer, and the best way to make that apparent to people is to stop questioning yourself. Period. Stop second guessing yourself. You have things to offer, and if people don't want them, they don't want them. There's 8 billion
billion,
people now in the world, and it's not for everybody, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to be for everyone, but that does not mean that your value is dependent on anyone. Okay? So that's for you.
She loves you.
Give it to me.
I don't know. I'd have to think more. But the thing that comes to mind with you is that I wish I had been around more when I knew you were struggling. And that I wish I had been more present. And, like, when you were in middle school, I was 17. Apologies. Look, 17 is, like, the best age. Because you're, like, independent enough, but also, like, mom and dad still buy my food and
Yeah.
clothes, and, like, I don't. And so I want to apologize for not being more present when I knew you were struggling, and for not figuring out how to be helpful there, how to be your big sister there. And I think that when I was a teenager, I let McKenna be your big sister, and I
Went and
wasn't.
did your own thing.
Well, I mean,
And no, this is my turn.
I would just echo like the apology because I didn't. I mean, I knew.
No, but I feel like McKenna was there more for you when you were a teenager, and
Yeah.
I don't feel like I started to know you really even until McKenna went on our mission, actually.
Yeah, I would agree.
Ooh. And
Sounds like we're going to have to have a part 2 of this.
yeah. And so, like, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I got you.
Love you too. Love you, Kenna.
Love you.
That's all.
Love you guys. Yeah.
All right, babe. Finish this off here.
Oh, great. yeah, kind of to piggyback on what McKenna said, looking at like other people's family dynamics, right? I have asked this question to mom and dad many times since becoming a mom, since having my own kids. I'm like, how did you teach us or let us know that we were loved without you having to physically be there? Because that is something, or like that they loved us, that they supported us, that they wanted us to succeed without them having to physically be present for anything, you know? Like dad, for example, because of his job, I think he came to 2 of my dance concerts my entire life. And one of those was actually my senior year. Because they were supposed to go to China and then something happened. What happened?
Some global crisis.
Yeah, something happened. And then their tour got canceled. And so my dad, by some miracle, was able to come to my senior dance concerts, which was a huge deal for me. Deal. Oh, man.
Yeah, Utah.
Sorry, Utah. Deal for me. And, you know, mom is like, she's like, I don't know. I don't know. And I'm like, oh, I just want to know what you did so that I can do that with my own kids, with Mona and Natia, and I can let them know that they're so fiercely loved, but I don't have to physically be there, you know? And that no matter what you're doing, no matter where you are, I love you. And, you know, that's how it is with us as well, right? Like, I absolutely loved living in South Carolina and was honestly super okay being away from all of our families. But that's because I knew no matter what that my family loved me. I didn't need you guys to be there physically with me every single day to know that you loved me and supported me. And I hope that somehow, some way,
I don't even know.
I can, or that we can all, you know, pass it on to our kids. But, so that's just one thing that I would agree with McKenna on, that we do have a fierce love. And I think that love has been passed down through generations, right? Like for us, we've seen it with our grandpa and abue, my mom's parents, and with Grandma Shurtleff. And, you know, with Grandpa Shurtleff, none of us ever met him.
No.
I mean, he died when my dad was 18. Our dad, sorry.
It's okay.
When our dad was 18.
Belongs to you.
And so, but I'm like, I've never doubted a day in my life that my Grandpa Shurtleff doesn't love me.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like,
So I actually have an idea. I have something, like, I think that now we could characterize both of our parents as fretters or worriers.
yeah.
Just your parents?
Look.
Okay.
Hey, what?
I'm going to explain my theory on this.
Okay, go.
Okay. But I think that, so my dad's dad died when my dad was 18, I think, right?
He was on his mission, right?
He was
right
before
he was
getting ready. He
mission,
was getting ready to go on his mission, and it was unexpected, sudden.
Yeah.
Like they were on a scout. He was on a scout trip
He was
in
hiking.
the mountains, had a heart attack, came down, and passed away 3 days later. Or they got him off the mountain.
Yeah.
When I was 5, my mom's youngest sister was killed in a car accident. 2 years later, one of my mom's other sisters died suddenly, unexpectedly, right? So I think that there's this element that both of our parents understand fearfully, that you never know, that there is this kind of fear. And I don't mean to, like, I'm not trying to overshadow anything, right? But there's this understanding, this really visceral understanding that any moment can be the last.
Yeah.
And while that leads to some fretting and some worrying, I also think that it leads to understanding that, look, we don't agree, and whatever. Like that's
Yeah.
not the important thing here, right? Like my parents don't agree with some of my life choices, right? But that's not the important thing here, right? It's the important thing is that I know very plainly and very clearly that there is no given next time.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and because of that, like, there's always been this idea that there is nothing you could do or say that would make me not want to tell you that I love you.
Yeah.
Like, give me a few minutes
Yeah.
to cool the jets.
Really mad at you.
But like, well, and like it was like this funny thing,
Yeah.
like when we would get in arguments, and like I'm not saying this is like a healthy way to like deal with arguments exactly, but like we would like not talk to each other, but then there would always be this like,
Do you want an egg?
yeah, yeah. Like I'm making French toast. You want some? You know, just like some, and it'd be like, yes, I do, and it was just like, okay, good. I love you. And like it's just like, you know
One
what I
of
mean?
the other
Like,
things though, one of the other things that is that I have a lot of friends, and I don't know where this comes from, but I have a lot of friends who I'm just like, hey, love ya, like love you,
okay, yeah.
and they're like,
No, true.
Yeah.
and I'm like, I love,
I love you.
Like, was that not okay?
That's funny. I was just about to say something very similar.
And my parents said that all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Those were words that I heard
Constantly.
I couldn't even tell you how many times a day. When I went off to college, when I actually moved out, my mom drove me. Now,
I remember
note
this.
That I am
I remember
like 19
this.
years old. Note that I'm like 19, okay? And my mom, like every single day,
Yes.
every day, would text me and be like, I love you. What are you doing?
Okay, but she
Still does. Still does.
Okay,
Yeah.
and it drove me crazy. But now at this point, if I don't get one of those from my mom, I'm like,
Does she still love me?
are you okay?
Yeah.
Right? Or if I
Does she
don't
love me,
respond
but are
quickly
you
on the
okay?
family text message thread, she'll text me separately, be like, are you okay? I'm like, yes, I have a full-time job. I'm in meetings from 9 until
My
3:30.
my favorite was, so is the rain pretty bad in South Carolina? I'm like,
Like,
oh, it just says on the
it's
weather
not even
app.
raining
that-
here, Mom.
Yeah, like our parents like check
Yeah.
the weather wherever we're at. And be
Like,
like, hey, be
which,
careful.
you know.
Which is like,
When there's some of that fretting that's like, okay,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
again,
yeah.
like I think it comes back to this idea that you just don't. There's nothing's given.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think, well, that's hard. That's just a hard thing, I think, to understand as a young child.
Mhm.
It's something that as an adult, I'm like,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
Well, I think you have to experience
mm-hmm.
the loss. Like when you're a kid and say like your great grandpa dies, like it's not
Yeah.
really something that crosses
Yeah.
your radar. But once someone that you truly have an
Mhm.
intimate relationship leaves this earth,
Yep.
it's like I don't get that. I don't get to
No,
go
I
see
don't get
them
that
again.
anymore.
I don't get to talk to them. So
Yeah.
no, I think that's
But yeah,
huge.
it's a long conversation. Sorry.
No, this is perfect. And did you have anything else that you wanted to say to your sisters before we close? You got 5 minutes.
Just, I mean, I know you apologize, but you don't need to apologize. But no, I have looked up to both of you because, you're both my older sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I've learned a lot from you guys. Like my personality, I can learn from other people's mistakes. Mainly McKenna's. Just kidding.
Yeah.
And Lauren's too.
True.
But
Did Lauren make mistakes?
yes.
Did you?
Yeah.
Like public ones?
Yeah. Well, like remember when she swore at Dad?
Okay, but that was because of me.
Yeah,
She
I was
she
like-
jumped in to defend me, and
Mental note. Never swear at Dad. Like that is never gonna happen as long as I live. I'm never swearing at our father.
Yeah, I just remember Mariah being like,
okay, but truly, that was not like Lauren. Like
Yeah.
that was my fault. Like because
it's
Dad was
not,
mad at
it
me.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's nobody's fault. But yeah, I just, I mean, you've both been amazing older sisters to me, and I'm truly, truly grateful for that because I know I would not be anywhere that I am today without both of you.
Aww.
So,
Well,
love you.
thank
Love
you.
you.
Thank you guys for taking your time and joining the Matua Boys podcast.
Thank you.
And I think that's kind of this segment, or this new kind of branch that we're taking off with our little thing. We've loved being able to talk as brothers.
Yeah.
Just to talk as brothers, and hopefully when we record it, mostly for us, but I mean,
yeah,
if it connects with someone else, it connects with someone else. And like you said,
Yeah.
when you're talking to your sisters, but there's so many people that won't get the chance. And
Yeah.
when we did the one with our dad, crazy, but someone that's above him in his work hierarchy, who lives in North Carolina, came across, like my dad had shared it. And so he came across, and he's giving his status update at the end of the week. And his boss basically says, hey, I actually listened to the podcast with you and your brother, and it really inspired me to
dude, that's
mend
awesome.
some neglected relationships. And so it's like, that is
Wow.
someone that we never thought would
Yeah.
be
That's
touching.
really, really
But
cool.
so it's like, it's cool. And I think giving as many quote unquote normal people and siblings and groups of family members the chance to flesh those thoughts out and express those feelings,
Yeah.
the more people will touch and the more people we connect with. So that's kind of where we're trying to go with this, and we really appreciate you guys joining, being part of it. You guys are a special group of sisters in my heart, and so thank you for coming.
Thanks.
We'll have to do a part 2 because there are
Well, we didn't even get to butter or
we
potatoes.
just
How did we not do that?
how about next time we'll have a couple of my brothers on and we can have a real discussion about butter
I'm gonna
or
look.
rice or potatoes.
Look,
So-
you guys,
We will come prepared.
we will come prepared with the many preparations of potatoes that are out there, and you can come with the single preparation
I mean,
of rice.
if you get it right once, you don't got to do it any other way.
yeah, but
So,
like
I mean,
potato, man.
fried rice, yeah, fried rice from the shadows. But yeah,
Okay,
thanks
all
guys.
right,
Thanks.
guys.